Hello and welcome to Supreme Commander Forged Alliance. This is Regor 6 Highlands, Morax versus TA for Life. Yes, a game that I played recently on the ladder. This map, which I've actually not played this many times, but I should know it well from all those casts between Blackheart and Zoc. I would have definitely chosen EAF had I known this was going to be the map, but Morax, I'm actually going to see two videos, two replays in this video, where Morax is also going to play Calvarox, and I'm not actually sure the order of these two. That one was, I believe, a training game. I'd like to think that that one was before this one. That's why Morax, I think, will do quite well. There is a discrepancy in the ladder ratings, but those should never scare people because things happen in this game. Morax going second air. Seraphim TA for Life, thinking about second air as well. And one thing that I did remember is that you got to use your ACU to expand. That's a very strange way to do it. I'm not really sure why that's happening. Also grabbing a little reclaim here and there. But yeah, and a big land span plant, 2 engineers getting power. Looks like we're going to have very similar second air builds, except Morax is going to use his ACU to get that air factory. We'll get him up a little quicker. He's going to come out with the bomber first. I assume this will be bomber first as well. The bomber from Morax will be a bit quicker. Selines, and this thing that I like to do is spread Selines all over the map and then put them on hold fire. So they give me some intel. As long as you remember not to move them. Scout comes out, yep, and you can see it's same type of deal. It's just a little quicker. And this bomber, in a very nice route, you can pick up this bomber. Looks like it's going to go directly at the base. And 2 groups of engineer, 1 on power, which now gets killed. Second group was working on factories. So that's the 3rd land factory. 3 land factories for Morax as well. This bomber, did it kill something? I think it killed something. However, this bomber is still a big problem. 4 kills really sets the tone, although now it's just bombing mass extractors. A bit of a wasted opportunity. And yeah, this, in terms of looking at the map, the way I was thinking is grabbing these expansion, denying these expansion. This is why these 2 tanks are here, looking for an expanding engineer, which is not coming. What Morax is doing, building up a force in the middle. And this is where the Celine is so nice. Tells me there's something there. And another bomber from TA gets killed. So in terms of early eco, it's actually very even, maybe a little more power. So this map, I actually didn't remember about these PDs. That will be an issue later, but this is definitely something to grab. A lot of reclaim plus 3 mass extractors. So transports are fairly critical. And now in the middle, poor micro from TA. And this is the reason to use the ACU to expand, even though the tanks were sent here. They're really not going to do much. So instead of having a single group, there are now 2 groups. However, the tanks spot the ACU, they're going to go around and try to harass. And this middle position also a possible problem. Morax being very direct, going right into my base. Working on a second factory, must have had some excess power, at least for a little while. One thing Morax does have an advantage is his reclaim. So I think early on Morax with a slight advantage now that he's grabbed all that. And in terms of the total land production, you can see this is a 5/6 land factory from the central position. TA has built up a secondary base producing land. And now this tank with 5 kills. Yeah, this is definitely not the way to play defense. You want to use a couple tanks to kill it, not your entire force. And transports are now going to be featured. In terms of total air competition, fairly similar. And now, Morax, once again, this is one thing that he's done very well in this game, is use his forces in a single clump where they're sure to win. I, on the other hand, attempted to use small forces to raid here and there. And now a significant power advantage for Morax, which he isn't really using, but he can use it to get the gun or maybe more air or to upgrade. Single transport here. This is where I was hoping to steal his mass extractors, but you can imagine that's going to be a failure, as this is going to be a successful assault, kind of on the weak point, realizing that there's an assault here on the right side, and I had an opportunity through the middle. So I had some engineers sent there and the bulk of my forces. However, yeah, I had to cancel that and dropped it here instead. But this is just a bunch of tanks, which really are wasted because it's a little ledge. They're just protecting a single mass extractor. And a little bit of rate. So actually looking at this map now, it's a really nice map. So here, this is where Morax needs to show patience and only attack while he has his entire forces. So while I try to not engage, but the good movement with the ACU to sandwich. See how I tried to maximize my units, and actually that did work out there pretty well to retreat. A bit of a counterattack here, and this would be a great prize if I can get it back. A lot of potential reclaim. However, Morax is now ahead on mass. This is something not to discount. And yeah, a couple tanks actually got in the back. This is a raid I like to do this entire game, just go around in the back. Actually, Morax putting up a wall. Morax also busy upgrading. You're at the single tech to mass extractor, getting yet another. Catching up on power, wasting power. 3100 reclaimed, 4100, so still 1000 advantage. Not wasting as much power, but this upgrading is really helping out. Plus a much better use of the ACU. Morax moving out from the side, going into the middle, which really prevented any kind of advantage I may have had in the middle. With what I think is a superior air force, trying to come in with some bombers, maybe kill some raiding units. And once again, the thing that's worked for me most of the game is raids from the side. As the upgrading really continues, and it's nice, this stage, Morax, it looked pretty even, but Morax suddenly started upgrading, and while I went for power, which I'm actually sort of using to build air, and going tech to air here, he built up tech to mass extractors. And actually Morax might be having some power issues. However, this raid in the back, I think, significantly stronger, at least currently, than my raid. Although, not really killing anything, just leaving wrecks. Trying to break through the wall. And this assault through the middle was definitely not a good idea. I did not recognize that this was Tech 2 land at this point. Looking at how many units there were, it looked pretty weak until realizing those are Ilshevis. And yeah, those are going to tear. This could be a very critical battle actually here, leaving a lot of wrecks, plus having no force in the middle to contend. Now gunships are going to come out. I was going to save them because I did see the ACU here, 18 kills, being kind of brave. I was going to build up a bunch, get a fight, and maybe finish him with gunships, because at this point it was a little worrisome. And now with the Ilshevas in the field, it's now a significant advantage on land. Wherever there is an Ilsheva, there is a problem. And also this Tech 2 flak, already with 7 kills. This is going to be a major disaster. This is something never to do. And you can see why. That really hurts. So this battle plus this really painful things to happen to you. Gunships going to work against the Ilshevas, but the Ilshevas doing quite well, and now an air response from Morax, who was caught up on power at least a little bit. Yeah, definitely wasting a whole bunch of power. He's already got some Tech 2. He's actually getting a shield in his base, which I think I'm against that. Maybe thinking that I would try to snap him with some Tech 2 bombers, which did cross my mind, but I don't think I could really afford that. Instead, I'm just building up gunships, playing defense. So I have a lot of reclaim potential. I'm investing probably too much into power, but I always like to invest into power because that does open up the possibility to get good upgrades. However, because I was investing so heavily into power, investing into, and actually, yeah, you can see some bombers right there. I was not investing enough into land, which really made this position quite weak. Because this is another thing Morax has done well through this entire game, is focusing his forces. And it's Tech 2 versus actually Tech 2 and Tech 1 versus not much, just the PD here. And yeah, that will be a problem. Another raining force through the back. This has been a really bad spot for me. Yeah, and some ACU upgrades. Perhaps maybe not the best time. I think this is the point which I was still thinking of a snipe, now building up some bombers. However, you can see Morax, very nice. That's why I built that shield. Put his ACU in a very safe position. Actually, this should, in theory, give me a chance, because then if I was to get an aggressive ACU, perhaps I could contend with all these forces, but I was getting ready for a snipe, which was defended against. If instead I switched to Tech 2 land and got a gun on the ACU, that could have worked out much better. But at this point, you can see in terms of map control, major problems for me. And major waste of power. And this is where these last two pigeons, fairly criminal. Transport. Always like to use transports whenever I can, but don't even really have much to put into those transports, as all these expansions are dead. And you can see on my radar, things are not looking good, because now there's a force here I have to think about. There are multiple forces here running around. I have ridiculous balance in the economy. Pretty decent reclaim. Morax actually has less reclaim. That's the only thing that I really have. My ACU has Tech 2, does not have the gun. And my Tech 2 bombers, I was thinking about sniping all this Tech 2 flak, but that didn't really work out. And now, just the overall land spam from Morax. Couple overcharges here at the end. But yeah, I think another thing, I did underestimate how big this was. Did put up a bunch of Tech 1 PDs, but this was a very nice mix from Morax. Ilshevas together with Artie. If it was just tanks and Ilshevas, perhaps maybe I could have survived. But my biggest economy mistake is, of course, these two Tech 2 pigeons. My biggest tech mistake is Tech 2 air instead of Tech 2 land. And a good play from Morax to deny me the possibility of the snipe, because I was anticipating that he would be here fighting, and perhaps in that case maybe I could have snatched a draw. And another, just a tactical mistake, sending these drops in behind over flak and also dropping tanks on that position. Originally that drop was to deny this position. But you can see, already coupled with Ilshevas, it's a force that you can't really do much. He was mass stalling this entire game. Is he lying to me? He's mass stalling right now, but I'm not surprised that he's mass stalling, given that I mean, he's made so many units. It's the advantage. How many he's got? Actually, this is a 10 kill. So I did do some killing in the back here. He's got multiple Tech 2 mass extractors, Morax. And let's go to the stats at the end. And I noticed in the previous video, this part for some reason makes a horrible noise. You can barely hear it in the back, but for some reason it gets amplified. I'm just gonna kill it, so hopefully it's not an issue for you. So looking at the mass game, maybe a little bit of an advantage early on. Actually, yeah, this curve went back and forth a little bit. This is a huge reclaim for me. However, I think after that final assault, this is where I was losing those expansions. In terms of energy, just huge wasted energy for me is a major mistake. And total kills, yeah. So hopefully people enjoyed this one. Now I want to move on to a game between Morax and Calvarox, and I guess that's a inter-clan training, so that should be interesting as well. Of course, what I meant to say was intra-clan training. These two players on the same clan. Yeah, it's not intra-Milan, it's inter-Milan. That's one way to remember that. Calvarox, in case people were watching the World Cup, what happened to Mexico was an absolute tragedy. But what you got to see about the Dutch side, they really think ahead, and then they, if it was a real-time strategy competition and not one which based on APM where Koreans would win no matter what, if it was a competition based on something like Supreme Commander, the Dutch might be the top, because they have everything covered. I mean, they have the president of FIFA which is huge. I mean, that's like, I mean, I don't really know if there's an analog in Supreme Commander to having the president of the organization that holds the games. You have really great micro on flops, which really helps. I mean, if your motion is gives you the ability to switch between flopping and running, it's a huge advantage that you cannot discount. So hats off to the Dutch. Although out of all the different teams in this World Cup, I did want Mexico to make it as far as possible. Just because, I mean, whenever I visited Mexicans in their home, those tacos were just absolutely delicious. So to the game, Morax just beat my ass. And I'd like to think this is before, so he got some training, although I think I made some critical mistakes that he took advantage of. The way Morax played is he did not make any mistakes. As we see now, a bomb from Calvarox. On paper, Calvarox has a better rating, but of course I have a higher ladder rating than their global ratings, and that made absolutely no difference. So I would like to encourage people to forget about the ratings. They don't mean much. They're useful for things like tourneys, just to organize people. But they should never affect how you play in the game. So Morax here running, and this is he's running directly to the furthest expansion. Actually, both of them doing that. Using the engineer to grab this middle expansion. That's something that I didn't do. Perhaps one of the reasons that this is a lot of reclaim. That these are, I think those are Auroras, but detective transports. Early domination for Calvarox in air. And one quick thing I want to ask. Sometimes I cast these games, especially these 1v1s, at 0 speed. Sometimes at +2, sometimes at +3. I think +3 would be kind of difficult all the way through. But maybe people can give me some feedback. What is the ideal speed? And of course I will change it based on what's happening, but +1, +2, +3. This one will be mostly +2, just because I think I have to run here soon. Pretty big land spam as expected from Calvarox. EF at this early Tech 1 stage with Micro, Cybern do have an advantage, and actually even further on with Rhino, I'm not really sure how bad this terrain is for lasers. Probably really depends on where you're fighting. Although the pillar and mass numbers, I think you can put up with the Rhino. And the Tech 2 stage, for whatever reason, for EF is so short-lived that we don't really see the shield make a big enough appearance. And this is the advantage of the Cyber, and it's very depressing when you're Aeon and you're EF and you have you're the Tech 1 stage, and you see these Sirens just come in, kill you, and then leave. So if you're a Siren, that's exactly how you should play. It's very frustrating because you see the threat, you see it kill you, and you respond, and it doesn't matter. And what's actually happening is you're chasing, you're putting your units out of position, and you can see now the ACU for Calvarox after establishing a base retreating. But Morax, yeah, I don't really feel shamed losing against him, although he was Seraphim in that game. I mean, look at this. The only thing that he doesn't have is air control, although he's putting up some flak now. Second air factory. In terms of power, he's also lagging behind. Yeah, he needs to fix that because he didn't anticipate getting as much mass as he did. 1600 reclaim, Calvarox, low more actually. And Calvarox rebuilding some mass. Yeah, overall, Calvarox has more mass income. No, never mind, that changed. I guess they're reclaiming so much that I can't trust those numbers. And I think this was a mistake. Oh my god. This definitely paid for itself. What a beautiful unit. Yeah, this game up close, I mean, if you look at all these new games, besides first-person shooters and things like GTA, the graphics didn't improve. They actually didn't improve at all. So I don't really know. When people make arguments about Supreme Commander 2 or other RTSs, this has the greatest graphics just because of the detail. A very critical fight here. An attack move from Calvarox. In even numbers, UEF will dominate. However, the lack of Medusas, and finally some Medusas in these types of fights can make an absolutely huge difference. So they have, of course, they're arty, so they have the range, they have splash, and they also slow the units down, so they freeze the units. So when they're clumped up like this, you have chunks of units that are stuck, and then they prevent other units from moving. So really retards the motion. I think exactly the word that I want to use. Retardation. The retardation gun. And Manti, oh, some Medusas on a raid. Morax here playing very well in the way he's choosing where to fight. And if you read Sun Tzu, one of the critical rules of fighting is to choose when to fight and where to fight. And he didn't fight here, he fought over here, where he had superior numbers, he had all these reinforcements, and now he's actually got numbers, and this is a huge amount of reclaim, so a major loss for Calvarox. Morax actually ahead on I think every category. He's got Tech 2 mask extractors going up for another mask extractor, TMD, and I don't think I've seen Morax much, so if he's a new player and he's improving this well, please keep on playing, please get really good, because we need people to challenge Blackheart, and any new player who is thinking this game is so difficult, you need many years to learn it. It's true, except if you're really awesome and it really works for you. If you're math oriented and you're very good at chess and you're of decent APM around 100, and you're willing to spend a lot of time, you can get extremely good within a few months. Just look at Blackheart as a great example. Within a few months he was one of the best, and after a year he is the best. I think it's now fairly certain of that. Yeah, it's a very big loss to the Supreme Commander Force Alliance community, the fact that Lushan went and visited China. He came back, he plays, he's still better than like everybody, but he's no longer, I don't think, wow. I had to be speechless there for a little while. That was absolute murder. I think that was a combination of Medusas and a Rhino leading the charge with, and look at this, Morax has such great fundamental gameplay here, and even though he's behind on mass income, his reclaim is just going to skyrocket. He's got a really good power balance, unlike some people in the previous game. Calvarox doing a little power stalling, and this forces Calvarox to put up point defenses, and actually these ones put up in time. This could be a big murdering PD. Rhino's not good against PD. This is where you gotta manually target some mistake. This is a huge PD, 11 kills. I think Medusas will finally kill it. However, this force is not stopping. It's gonna kill an expansion. We are seeing Tech 2 land, and actually multiple support factors already, Tech 2 power coming up. But you see how much mass was invested in PDs. It's a big loss. Engineers on the case. And I think these two players are playing extremely well. Not making many mistakes. TMDs, I think the best defense against cruise missiles is the Scout. Although this base has HQ, multiple Tech 2 mask extractors, and T2 power. Although it's best to arrange them so that you minimize the number of TMDs that will play defense against you. And okay, wow, this was such an awesome attack. First, entering the fight with just a huge bang, running everything over, getting slowed down by PD, but killing off 2 expansions, and now they're not done yet. 12 kill Rhino leading the way. This is a hero leader. Pillars though in the mix. Second wave, this one has a couple more Rhinos, although now they're gonna face the pillar, and not a lot of reinforcements suddenly. What happened to all the units? There are a few Tech 2s running around, and now this is a great Rhino in the corner. Tech 2 unit in this early Tech 2 stage, even in the mid Tech 2 stage, dropping off single Tech 2 units in random places on the map. They can absolutely dominate. And look at all these Tech 2 mask extractors for Morax. He's got a significant mass income now. really converting. Oh, look at all those Tech 2 juicy units. Converting his superior reclaim into a permanent 10,000 reclaim Calvarox, 11,000 actually. These engineers did a good job, but whoever gets that is going to take the reclaim lead. But let's actually look at the numbers of Tech 2 mass extractors between these two players. I think, oh come on. Wow, that's all over the map. 10 Tech 2 mass extractors. Couple Tech 2 powers. Does he have Tech 2 air? He's going, oh no, he's not going Tech 3 land. Multiple Tech 2 powers, maybe wasting a little bit. I need to play the ladder, find Morax, and kill him. Just so I can say I've killed him before he gets really good. I think at this stage, if I really try, I probably could still kill him. Although on this map, yeah, maybe whenever I have a time, and Morax, if you watch this, you gotta send me a message, and we should fight on this map. I want rematch. Although Calvarox also quite a few Tech 2 mass extractors. 8 at Morax, slightly ahead. TMD, I think T2PD is probably the way to go. And look how quickly Morax has put up. And if I'm not mistaken, they're from the AIX clan. People should look out for that clan. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe it's from some other clan. Ooh, interesting mix. Wangers. I'm gonna call them Wangers. If you're worried about terrain, and if you want to preferentially fire on Tech 2 units instead of Tech 1, get the Wanger. It's not as mass efficient, and some drops now coming in. There's just some Tech 2 drops on a mission, although they may be spotted. This could be a tragedy. I think it will be a tragedy. Good defense from Calvarox. However, Calvarox now way behind. Tech 2 gunships now from both players. The Rhinos are going to get killed, and fortunate for Morax. Big Tech 2 gunship spam. Tech 3 land from Morax, and at this Tech 3 stage, this is where the EAF for Calvarox should really make itself known. Up until the Tech 3 stage, you can say Cybern had the advantage. And I think we did see that some of these battles were very one-sided, and this is the Tech 2 versus Tech 2. Maybe better placement of units here from, yeah, these pillars are gonna dominate this. This is a mistake. These guys needed to help their allies, but I guess they're afraid. Yeah, you don't want to enter. Oh, and now Percy's here as well. So the best move for Morax is to run. We're also seeing some loyalists. And of course, at range, the loyalists will die. However, the loyalist does have... Yeah, and that's the thing. If you linger next to some Percys, 6 kills, 7 kills. Slow fire rate, but when you get one shot, one kill, 16,000 damage. Gunship's going to work for Morax, killing off this entire side base. Gunship's looking for the exact same target, although some Tech 1 AA there. Not sure if it's enough, but it's quite a bit. I think, yeah, you don't want to attack all that. Rhinos continue to press, but I gotta say, pillars, and especially now the Percys, they're making things very difficult for Morax. He's got a big advantage. He's got bricks coming in, but I think if he sticks to Tech 3 land and doesn't do something with air, he is in a bit of danger of losing position, because this advantage of about 50 mass income isn't that big a deal when you got all these units to reclaim. Calvarox, 25,000 reclaimed. He's got 2,000 in the bank. He can choose to convert that into a Tech 3 mech somewhere if he wants to. Morax has that power advantage, which I think one straightforward move for him would be get resource allocation and then Tech 3 air. Or, yeah, I think he wants to get Tech 3 air given that he does not have air control. He is actually going to get an air fight, which I think is a mistake. If he wants to fight air, he needs to do it over some flak, because this is numbers. Major numbers. He does have to keep in mind that there are Percys moving in his direction. And these gunships that he has aren't going to live unless they stay close to flak. He has the luxury of map control, so oh no. Okay, how many kills? Oh no. Where is the hero flag? 17 kill flag. Are there any other flags in this? 6 kills, 0 kills. Yeah, those were not. I think that other flag, we will never know how many kills he got because he got killed by Percy. And yeah, losing all that air means the gunships can go to work and the brick. However, Cavalrox with all these Percys. Oh, this Percy might actually die. 15 kills, 9 kills, 17 kills. And whoa, Cavalrox, what the heck is going on? Is he getting resource allocation? He is getting RAS with an assist, and he's absolutely killing his economy. And I think this is the move that Morax should be doing. Cavalrox doing this move at this critical stage when I think those Percys could have done so much better. They're still doing damage, but they're killing, but they're dying, so they're leaving a lot of wrecks. Yeah, this is still another very big force. The lack of tech to flak in Cavalrox's force is really showing. Not sure if he has not remedied the situation. So yeah, he's finally got some tech to flak, but he needs to get it out to his units. These gunships, only 50 damage per gunship, but it really adds up. And groups of pillars here, undefended. Yeah, a huge loss. Tech 1 air is very fragile. You do not want to just leave it to die like we saw. Tech to air with some tech 2 transports. Morax choosing not to go to tech 3 air, and actually Cavalrox with this move to resource allocation means he is poised to go to tech 3 air. If he had a little more build capacity, there's all the build capacity left home. Okay, I'm not sure, but that's the plan for all this build capacity. But Cavalrox not producing many units. He's probably making some tech 3 mask structures. He's choosing to just use adjacency instead of taking these to tech 3 and mask capping them. As yeah, this is a large group of gunships. And splash on Siren is huge, so you want to separate your units. Maybe an air fight, but should be easily won. Emergency take 1 flak in the middle of the field. Walls being put up by Morax. And engineers and tech to transport. I think Morax is going to catch up in terms of reclaim 22,000, a lot in the bank. He is going to go with tech 3 power. Though the way he's placed it, even though there's TMD there, this could be vulnerable against some cruise missiles are put in this position. Bricks with flak, and the fact that there is no stealth fields is not good. Plus they're moving into unknown territory, which is always a big mistake. That little radar unit, it makes your units extremely stronger. It's a multiplier, it's not an addition, so when it's all by itself, it doesn't look that good, but when it's helping out bricks versus Percys, it's absolutely massive. Of course, then the stealth is the divisor. You can think of it that way. And of course, there's also the prefactor of the person's brain. That can ruin everything for you. Cavalrox, what are you doing? He's going tech 3 on his mask extractors. But he looked so good with UEF coming into the tech 3 stage dominating, and that's exactly the point at which he killed his economy. And I think that chance is slipping away. He's still good because, yeah, and this of course second thing was the loss of air, because he's got all this reclaim and he still has the Percys, which will for sure protect his base, but any of the attacking options are kind of gone. He did get resource allocation first, but I think he's been wasting huge amounts of power. Meanwhile, tech 3 air, anyone? No, this is not resource allocation. But tech 3 power is nearly done for Morax. I'm assuming he's going to get tech 3 air now, because he keeps on making these gunships, which are now in the base, but what can they possibly kill? They're just going to die to tech 2 flak. This is not good choice of target. I think anything that Calvarox has now has tech to flak on it, so making gunships is no longer a good option. In this case, if you want to stick to tech to air, and you must stick with tech to air, it's good to switch to the Corsair. The Corsair is actually, because the splash, if you really need to get them involved, they can snipe all the stick to flak. Although the numbers here are quite large, and they can do quite a bit of damage to these grouped units. Another unit that Morax has neglected is the trebuchet, which, look at this, a trebuchet would, I think each shell deals about 600 damage, but each shell would damage every single unit in this group. And 2 shells would kill all this flak. Now in the Tech 3 stage, the total numbers at the Tech 3, Loyalists, 12 bricks, not very many flags, no stealth, which I think is criminal. Calvarox, 11, but look at this pillar number, huge number, and the flag number. The unit for Calvarox that he's kind of missing out on is the mobile shield, especially if there were trebuchets involved. That could really help. And shield together with flak is absolutely dominant. Now gunships, finding a spot that they can probe. Upgrading from Calvarox, trying to catch up, but of course he is behind, still wasting huge amounts of power, so I think I have to ask the question, why did he get that resource allocation? If you don't need huge amounts of power, if you don't go Tech 3 air, if you don't plan on building a nuke, don't get the resource allocation. Morax, yeah, he's going Tech 3 air, which is very understandable. He should get resource allocation, because if he puts too much build capacity here, he is going to power stall, especially when he has no power storage, so power stalls happen very quickly. Tech 3 scout, so he has revealed Tech 3 air. And was this successful? Yeah, it has to have been a successful drop, a great drop brick in Loyalist. It's going to be a big hit to the mass of Calvarox. I will once again speed this up. More walls planned for Morax as the middle. This is now a lot of bricks and Loyalists. I think the Percy advantage for Calvarox, but it's also going to be a question of radar. This is a critical radar, so if you're doing this type of fight, sniping that radar would be really helpful for Morax. Morax, on the other hand, yeah, he's got a radar of his own, and he's got to retreat, get out of the range of the radar. So even though there's no stealth, what's happening now is units are getting shot from nowhere, and he's not shooting back. This is where these engineers need to get in, get another radar. So logistics. And this is a lot of build capacity standing by that cannot be used, because I imagine Morax having power problems. Well, he's got problems using his build capacity. Tech 3 air on the field, the ASF are going to dominate. And Calvarox very good at keeping his units in one clump, which is nice for these land battles, but is very dangerous when people use splash against you. And the lack of Tech 3 RD in this game, I think, is very, very apparent. A couple Percys on the loose. Calvarox now way behind in the mass game. These units need another transport. Drop them right back here. Radar coverage. Guess there's some radar coverage here, so transport would be spotted. And actually an Omni now, finally, and that's another good way to use your resource allocation. Strats from Morax, what are they bombing? ASF for Calvarox take out that strat, but those ASF also die. And this is a very good looking force over Calvarox now. Too much build capacity on his air factory. He's working on a Tech 3. And power stalling Morax with the spider. Yeah, the fact, yeah. The timing of the resource allocation in this game is fairly critical depending on what you want to do. And was there any new radars? This Tech 2 radar is so awesome for Morax. He knows exactly what's going on. 6,000 mass in the bank. And what we're going to see is a Spider versus Perseus, but also 14 bricks here. But the power stall is making this battle very, very difficult. Forced to use a scout. Tech 3 scout losing to Flak. And another Tech 3 PGN finished. Strats for Morax. These are engineers. This is not a force. This is civilians versus military. This is Ukraine 2014. Who cares if they're pro-Russian? It doesn't matter. They're gonna die. Oh wow, that brick got really far, but got killed by some PD, it seems. Spider is now in the middle. And this is where not the best micro. Spider. Yeah, I think the bricks should have taken those shots, because what the Spider gives you is not health, it gives you DPS. Plus it also gives you stealth. So you want to have your bricks take the damage from the Perseus, or ideally you want a whole bunch of scouts getting shot by the Perseus because of all the overkill. And then the Spider coming in from outside kind of the visual with its laser. But nonetheless, Spider together with the bricks just won the biggest battle of this fight, of this war. Engineers on the case immediately. Morax 47,000, and given his air control, the bug is the most natural next experimental. But we're not going to see the bug. No, it's huge waste of power. Morax built up a whole bunch of Tech 3 PGNs suddenly, and he's got resource allocation. And where the heck did that Percy come from? Looks like Morax lost this whole right side of his base to a couple Perseus. I guess it doesn't really matter too much given this massive victory. But yeah, these lone Perseus, these are Tech 3 mass extractors, huge losses for Morax. Morax has just lost his mass income advantage. Second Spider is on the case. And one thing that we've seen throughout this entire game, Morax has had a major advantage in terms of build capacity. The build capacity in, I guess Calvarox just, maybe I'm saying that just because he had that huge exodus of build capacity from his position. Tech 3 gunships are out, but they're going to be too late. However, doing a drop with some engineers would be very nice for Calvarox, because these are huge wrecks. This is about 4,000. This is over 4,000 mass. Plus this is about 5,500 or so mass just sitting there. With yeah, that's enough for a Spider if you reclaim all that. Now a Spider together with a bunch of loyalists protecting their engineers, getting the juicy mass. Morax just jumped from about 47 to 89,000. Calvarox at 52,000, way behind. However, Calvarox has really put a lot of build capacity now on air. Oh wow, that's... Don't drop on Perseus. Yeah, bad move. Two Spiders from Morax, and once again Morax is leading with the Spiders. The Spiders do have stealth, which is nice, but now they're going to be under fire from Tech 3 gunships. And what's the damage per second from these? Like 400 something? I don't remember. And an air fight, Tech 1 versus Tech 3. Air is going to belong to Morax, which is mind-boggling. And what we've just seen, the game has really turned in terms of the income and the air control. So if these Spiders don't end this game, and if they die, I think Calvarox is going to be in a very good position. The question is, will they die? Are Perseus together with these gunships enough to kill these Spiders? There are a couple Tech 2 flags here, but it's a very low number. So if you want to go in and just snipe those, that'd be the best move. No more gunships being produced. And these spiders now I think being used a little better. As long, yeah, you stay out of the range, stay out of range. Another spider coming in though. And of course some Morax following up his assault with engineers. Oh, 2 spiders. So you can see why UEF is pretty good. And one way to deal with bricks is splash units. Oh my goodness. What a great gift from Morax. This game is just turned on its head. Finally, the ASF. I knew there was ASF somewhere from Morax. I guess he wasn't using it, or did he just build that up? Now, the economies are dead even. However, this is just huge amounts. This is enough for half a Paragon right there. Great drop from Calvarox. These Perseus on the right side, we kind of missed it, but they've wiped everything out. Strat bombers have been kind of liking. I did see one. I don't think it did anything important. Nukes are not here. I'd love to see a nuke and a fatty now from Calvarox. Perhaps some remedial training is in order. Yeah. Yeah, the Morax had this game. But this, and I think that's one thing you see from newer players, they get less and less good as the game progresses, because every single game has the initial stage, but not many games go really far, and that experience begins to show. Morax, however, yeah, still playing quite well, using his transports, expanding. But let's check out the reclamation now for Calvarox. 91,000, I think is probably caught up. No, 112. Room 112. 7,000 in the bank. Major powers planned for Calvarox. Fatty for Calvarox, halfway done. Good looking ACU, has the shield on it. Actually, that's the second fatty. There's already a fatty finished. So the question for Calvarox is, where does he want to go kill? The ACU for Morax is underneath. Yeah, it's Tech 3, so that's good. It's underneath a couple shields with 10,000 health each. These are Tech 3 mass extractors, so a lot of adjacency. One of the problems with using adjacent, I guess you're kind of stuck into having to use these factors. You can't switch that to potential income to something else. Successful drop, and this is critical. If you can grab that back from Morax, he's going to have the lead once again. Yeah, I think there was that early stage Tech 3 air when Morax had the advantage. As we see a critical air fight, which is probably going to go down to micro, and one thing we can say is that the micro for Calvarox looked a lot better. And now there are 2 fatties with a huge posse of Perseus and no air control for Morax. So Calvarox is in trouble with paper spiders. Will Calvarox make a mistake and leave his ASF directly over? Some scouting. Oh, but this is a nice loyalist assault. This is good. Morax actually, with this assault, these were all Tech 3s. He's actually really evened out. Actually took the lead in the income, amazingly. And oh no. Morax, he needed to wait as long as possible. Instead, he decided to assault. He almost killed the fatty, but how many times do you need to lose your spiders to Perseus before you learn that? I mean, spider has the health 45,000, a brick has a health of 9,000.
So yeah, you could do that math. Five bricks of the health of a spider. It's not a GC, which has 100,000. It's not a megalith. And actually, with instead of all the spiders, if Morax was building megaliths, and if you notice, many players choose to build megaliths instead of spiders. Spider is a good early experimental that can really help out with some micro. Bricks versus Percy early on, it could have really worked out better. Actually, there was that victory, but now, I mean, what do you do against this? You can attempt to snipe him with some cruise missiles, but yeah, yeah. Nothing that can be done against this. Best game ever? Not sure. It was definitely a good game. Very good game, actually. Good play. But I think the experience of Calvarox over Morax showed at the end. And also the power of UEF over Cybern definitely showed. Calvarox is he from Great Britain. And the Percy, once again, shows why it is the greatest Tech 3 land unit. So hopefully people enjoyed it. Actually, 57 minutes of game time. Let's check out the stats. This should be an interesting ride through the stats. Kills, very, very even. Let's look at the graph chart. Graph. Go on, computer. I'm sure you can draw this. No? Yeah. Morax had a big advantage this entire game, but yeah, the EF late stages, and I think it was really those few Percys on the right side suddenly just wiped out massive amounts. And another thing you gotta really say, Regor 6 has continued to show why it's such a great map. Yeah, in terms of power, a little bit of advantage here. I think this is when, yeah, this was the resource allocation for Calvarox. I really thought it was a big mistake, and I think there was a window when a bug from Morax could have really won it, but he didn't do that. Sticking to Tech 3 land versus Percy is a very, very dangerous thing to do. You need to have a huge advantage, and yeah, Morax did not have that. So last thing we'll look at is resources. Energy wasted, mass wasted. Actually, some wasted mass, guess this may have been at the end. Yeah, pretty good numbers. Total mass collected, a little more. So if we looked at the reclaim numbers for Morax, which were like 112 toward the end, maybe low, you can see in games that last this long, reclaim makes up for 20% of your income. Something never to neglect. Five to 3, and those fatties at the end ended it. But 5 spiders, absolute garbage. Yeah, and hopefully people enjoyed these games.